I woke to the sound of my front door being obliterated. Before I could process it, men in riot gear stormed my home, smashing windows, ripping apart my furniture, and tearing my life to shreds. The worst part? I wasn't even part of their HOA. How could they have the audacity to destroy my home? My name is Daniel Harper, and this is the story of how I fought back against the rogue HOA and won. For years I scraped and saved to buy my dream home, a quiet, cozy house on the edge of town. No HOA, no restrictive rules, just freedom. The mornings were magical. I'd brew a fresh cup of coffee and sit on my back patio, the crisp air mingling with the chirping of birds. My backyard was my pride and joy. I'd spent weeks landscaping it. Vibrant flower beds lined the fence, a small vegetable garden bloomed near the porch, and a fire pit sat ready for quiet evenings. Every detail screamed mine. The neighbors were friendly, but I kept to myself, avoiding community drama. I just wanted peace. Then, one morning, everything changed. A letter appeared in my mailbox, official and menacing, titled, "Notice of Violation." It claimed my property had unapproved modifications, and demanded immediate fixes or I'd face enforcement actions. I laughed it off. I wasn't in an HOA. It had to be a mistake. I tossed the letter aside, but more kept coming, each one nastier than the last. The second had "Final Notice," stamped in red, threatening immediate enforcement. The third listed absurd infractions: non-compliant fencing, unauthorized landscaping, and unapproved exterior changes. My fence came with the house. My flowers were just plants. How could a group I didn't join control my property? I ignored them, assuming they'd drop it. I was dead wrong. Days later, I jolted awake to my front door exploding inward. "Move! Move! Move!" Men shouted as they flooded my living room, dressed in black tactical gear, helmets obscuring their faces. HOA enforcement. Patches glaring on their sleeves. They moved like a SWAT team, rifles slung over their shoulders, barking orders as if I were a criminal. I barely stood before one grabbed my arm and shoved me back. "Step aside, sir!" he barked. "What the hell is going on?" I yelled, my heart pounding. No one answered. They tore through my home, smashing furniture, knocking over shelves. One ripped my security camera off the wall, tossing it like garbage. Outside, more officers poured into my yard. Crack! One broke my backyard gate with a crowbar. Another began yanking my fence apart, wooden planks splintering under brute force. Then, I saw something surreal. An officer dropped to one knee, pulled out a measuring tape, and started measuring my grass's height. This wasn't enforcement, it was insanity. "Stop! What are you doing?" I shouted, rushing toward him. Another officer blocked me, gripping a baton. "Stand down, sir. This is an authorized HOA enforcement action." "Authorized by whom?" I screamed, hands shaking. He shoved a document into my chest, a violation report listing nonsense, fence height, landscaping, exterior modifications. "This is a mistake," I yelled. "I'm not in the HOA." The officer didn't flinch. "All properties in this neighborhood are subject to community regulations." Then came a sound that made my blood run cold. Crash! 2 officers were smashing my backyard shed with sledgehammers, reducing it to rubble. This was an invasion. I grabbed my phone, hands trembling, and dialed 911. "There's a SWAT team in my house," I shouted. "They're destroying my property, riot gear, breaking my fence, smashing my shed." The dispatcher cut me off. "Sir, are they police officers?" "No. They're from the HOA," I yelled. "They're not real law enforcement." A pause. Then, coldly, "Sir, this sounds like a civil matter. Contact the HOA board or a lawyer." I was floored. "You don't understand. They're breaking into my home. This is trespassing, vandalism." She didn't budge. We can't intervene in HOA actions. I hung up, helpless, and ran outside. Neighbors stood frozen on their lawns, whispering, staring. I locked eyes with an elderly woman, Mrs. Ellis, on her porch. Call the police, I begged. She hesitated, then whispered, They won't help. They never do. When the HOA finally left, my home was a war zone. My front door hung off its hinges, windows were shattered, and glass was strewn across the floor. My fence was gone, flower beds obliterated, shed reduced to splinters. Then I saw it, a bill on my doorstep. Violation correction invoice, $12,950. They were charging me for their destruction. Rage boiled inside me. I grabbed my phone, scrolling through the video I'd recorded, men in riot gear tearing my life apart. This wasn't over. Mrs. Ellis approached, guilt in her eyes. They did this to my daughter years ago, she whispered. No one fought back. That's when it hit me. This HOA was terrorizing the neighborhood, and I was their latest target. I wasn't just angry, I was determined. They thought I'd pay their fines and slink away. They picked the wrong guy. I spent days digging through public records, deeds, and HOA files. The truth was staggering. My house wasn't in their jurisdiction. The original property deeds and boundary maps confirmed it. I found old HOA meeting records revealing a rejected proposal to expand their control to my home. Homeowners had voted it down, but the HOA ignored it. Then I uncovered something worse: leaked emails from the HOA president, Mr. Carlton. One read, We'll enforce the rules anyway. Most people won't fight. They knew they had no power over me, but did it anyway, banking on my silence. I gathered everything: security footage of the raid, the HOA's maps, their damning emails. I talked to neighbors, who slowly opened up. One was fined thousands for an unapproved mailbox. Another had their driveway repainted without consent, then billed. A woman whispered that her husband faced foreclosure threats over a deck. This wasn't just my fight, it was the community's. I sent a cease and desist letter through my lawyer, demanding they stop and pay for damages. They doubled my fines, claiming deliberate noncompliance. That was it. I filed a lawsuit. The HOA was about to learn what happens when you mess with the wrong person. In court, I was ready for war. The HOA's lawyer smirked, thinking they'd won before it started. My lawyer, Sarah, opened with the security footage, riot gear enforcers kicking in my door, smashing my shed. The jury was stunned. Then she showed the HOA's map, proving my house was outside their jurisdiction. The courtroom fell silent. Finally, she read Carlton's email. We'll enforce the rules anyway. The jury gasped. The judge's face hardened. When Carlton took the stand, Sarah pounced. Mr. Carlton, did you write this email, knowing Mr. Harper's house wasn't under your control? He swallowed hard. Yes. That was it. The HOA's case collapsed. The judge's voice was firm. This court finds the HOA guilty of trespassing, property destruction, and harassment. The defendant is awarded full compensation, punitive fines, and legal fees. Additionally, the HOA's enforcement policies will be reviewed by state authorities. Further violations will result in criminal charges. The gavel slammed. The courtroom erupted. The HOA's reign of terror was over. Outside, neighbors who'd been too scared to fight clapped for me. This wasn't just my victory, it was ours. I rebuilt my fence, restored my yard, and stood on my porch, but one question lingered: how many others had been silenced by HOAs like this? I turned on my camera and recorded a message. If an HOA is abusing its power, fight back. Don't let them scare you. If they did this to me, what's stopping them from targeting you? This story isn't just about me, it's a wake-up call. Have you or someone you know faced an overreaching HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's spark a debate. Where's the line between community rules and outright bullying? Drop your take, and let's get this conversation trending. Hit that like button, subscribe, and share to spread the word, because no one should lose their home to a rogue HOA.